Okay. And, I mean, just to kind of kick it off, what is there a significant difference between like a will and a trust?
So both of those are going to pass along your assets to somebody after you pass away. The big difference between the two, and so when you talk about a trust, what I'm going to refer to as sometimes what we call a living trust.
Right.
It's a revocable trust. There's also irrevocable trust. But under this strategy, if you have a will, when you pass away, very often, like to the tune of probably greater than 90% of the time, we're going to have to go through probate after you pass.
Okay.
Because a will doesn't transfer title on anything. A will just says, when I die, here's where my stuff goes. So,
and real quick, for people that may not, what's probate?
So probate's the process of transferring the ownership of that thing. Let's think about a house. So let's say if you have a house and you pass away and your will says, I want it to go to my wife or my kids, the will just tells us where it goes. Probate's the legal process of transferring that title from you, who's now deceased, to the people that you've identified in your will.
Okay.
So probate's a title changing process.
And who's responsible for the probate process?
So in your will, you have named an executor. It's not an executioner. Somebody mentioned a while back, but
it's already taken.
You're already dead.
Yeah.
But the executor, sometimes known as an administrator, but that's the person that you have said, when I pass away, here's the person in charge.
Okay.
So that will goes through probate. That's a legal process, can take, on average, at least in our office, and it's not because we're slow, it's because the courts are slow, but there's probably 6 to 9 months of work. A trust, on the other hand, to quickly answer your question, if that trust is properly set up and properly funded, you can avoid probate. There's still some work to do,
Sure.
but you don't have to go through the court process.
So, I mean, if there's a business tied up in your passing,
Yep.
and you don't have a living trust set up, and you just have a will, what could that potentially do to your business?
So it could certainly put things on hold for a while, because you need to know who has the ability to run that business, who makes business decisions, who has the authority to sign on bank accounts, who can write payroll checks to your employees or pay the bills that are coming in. So business succession or business continuation planning is certainly something that we talk about with folks that have an existing business that they're running and operating.
Right.
Not everybody does, but most of you guys do. And so that's certainly part of the discussion of, if I pass away or if I can't run my business, who else is going to do that for me?
Yeah.